Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is preamplifiers, or preamps. What is a preamp? First off, preamps are very important. That's what preamps are. What a preamp does is takes the very low level signal of electricity that microphones put out, or guitars put out, or bass guitars put out, primarily microphones, and brings them up to what's called line level. Now, line level signal is what most mixers work at. When audio is traveling through this section of the mixer, it's all line level. Or when it's going through your DAW, it's actually digitized, so it's kind of a different world there. But our goal here with the preamplifier is to get that level up to what's called line level. Now, you probably already own mic preamps, whether you know it or not. In fact, a lot of people who are just getting into recording, they almost don't have any idea what a preamplifier is for. Definitely don't know why they're really important, and there's a huge industry for preamps. Now, in the case of this small mixer board here, or mixing board, we have 6 microphone preamps in this particular board. For the money, these are really great sounding preamps. A lot of people have used these kind of preamps to make records. More people who make really high-end records get into high-end preamps like what you're seeing behind me here.
Now, to give you a clearer idea about what a preamp is, let's look at a really big recording console here. So if you were to go out and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on an expensive recording console like you'll find in big professional studios, what you're actually getting when you buy a microphone preamp is one channel of that console, or just the microphone preamp that you would find in that console. And that's a critical stage of amplification in terms of your overall sound quality. Now, let's look at this diagram a little bit more, and you could see some boxes are actually the whole channel strip from big expensive consoles, like this Focusrite ISA 430 that I particularly love. Has the preamp section, it has the equalizer section, it has the compressor section, and it has a small fader, which is basically my level that gets sent into my digital audio workstation. So all of these components from this preamp are basically the same as what you'd find in a really expensive recording console. Now, there are a lot of different types of microphone preamps out there. You might be thoroughly confused by the microphone preamp industry. But when you really break it down, for the most part, there are 3 different types of preamps. You have your transformer-based mic pre's, and these are that Rupert Neve sound. They're fat, they're punchy, they're very popular in rock music, pop music, R&B, and rap. They're also used for just about everything, really. Second, you have the transistor Class A mic preamps, which are very clean, very transparent. They don't color the sound at all. They're very popular in jazz, classical, and rock as well. Third, you have the tube mic preamp, which is that warm, fat sound. They're very popular in rock, pop, R&B, and rap. Now, if you're having a problem figuring out what preamp you want, you can actually go to www.3daudioincorporated or 3daudioinc.com. And these guys actually got $75,000 worth of preamps and did a listening test. They recorded vocals, acoustic guitar, and a couple other things, I believe. And they basically made this CD so you could go through and hear what all of these different preamps sound like. It's a really great way to help you pick out the preamp you want.
When you get into a high-end mic pre, that's where it gets to the point where you're making tracks that sound like a professional record. That's why a lot of these companies have put out really good preamps in rack mount boxes. When you're using mic preamps, once again, taking that signal, going into your preamp, bringing it up to line level, this is a very critical stage of recording. If you do this with a good high-end mic preamp, you'll find that your recordings sound much better from the get-go. You have to do a lot less treatment on your recordings to get those right. Now, one particular type of mic pre I wanted to mention is a mic preamp, or actually several different mic preamps made by a guy named Rupert Neve. They're transformer-based mic pre's, and they sound amazing. In fact, in the rock and roll industry, these have really shaped the sound of rock and roll to a large degree. There are a lot of other mic pre's out there that you can use that sound really good, and all the high-end mic pre's, once you step up to a high-end mic pre, it really makes this big difference. It's basically a big jump up in terms of your recording quality. Now, the reason a lot of companies put out single-channel or dual-channel mic pre's is because when you're recording, most of the time you're recording 1 or 2 things at a time. Now, with keyboards like we have here, it doesn't matter as much to use a mic preamp because these are already at line level. It does affect the sound, and it's kind of cool. In fact, a lot of people get into Neve mic pre's like running everything through it because it makes everything sound better, at least in my opinion. But with 1 or 2 channels of really good mic pre, You can record everything through that and it sounds the same as if you were using a big expensive console like we showed you earlier. So wanted to give you a heads up on mic preamps. If you could afford to step up to a good mic preamp, please do so. It'll make a big difference in your recordings. But let's move on and talk about some other recording things first.